If you expect to communicate and work with the United States Forest Service, you must first have a basic understanding of its organizational structure. In simple terms, you must be able to contact the right person. At the completion of this module, you'll be able to identify the correct person to contact regarding a specific process, such as OHV route designation, or a project that improves or expands OHV recreation opportunities on your local national forest. To illustrate the importance of finding the right person, let's use the example of you driving down the highway in your car when it suddenly begins to sputter and backfire. What do? You head for the dealership where you bought the car. As you pull into the dealership, who should you contact? Is it the salesman you see on the showroom floor? Probably not. Is it the person behind the parts counter? Again, not the right person to talk to. No, you need to go to the service department to have the car worked on by a mechanic, since he's the only person at the dealership who can fix the problem and get you back on the road. The same is true if you want to deal with the United States Forest Service. You need to take your issue to the right person. So let's see how you find the right person. The United States Forest Service is a federal agency that is part of the United States Department of Agriculture. Do not confuse it with the National Park Service, the Bureau of Land Management, or your state forestry agency. The United States Forest Service organizational structure can be summarized this way. Headquarters in Washington, D.C. 9 regional offices. 155 national forests and 20 grasslands, and 626 ranger districts. The headquarters is the Washington office, or WO. The head of the Forest Service is the chief. The staff that works on recreation issues is in the Recreation, Heritage, and Wilderness Resources Office. Moving down the organizational line chart, there are 9 regional offices located across the country, each headed by a regional forester who reports to the Forest Service chief in Washington. Each region has a staff that includes a director of recreation. The next level down is the Forest Supervisor's Office, or SO. A forest supervisor may be responsible for a single national forest or multiple national forests. Each forest supervisor has a recreation staff that deals with recreation issues. Within each national forest, there are ranger districts. The line officer in charge of each district is the district ranger, who is responsible for all activities on that district. The district ranger will have a recreation officer and a staff that works on recreation issues. Now that you have a basic understanding of the Forest Service structure, you need to understand the Forest Service decision-making process. The Forest Service has a decentralized decision-making process. Most decisions are left to the lower levels of the organization, such as the Ranger District and Forest Supervisor's Office, with guidance from the upper levels, such as the Washington office and the regional office. The motorized travel rule is an example of guidance from the top, with the process and final decisions determined by lower levels. With this knowledge of the organizational structure, how do you determine who to contact? Well, it depends on the issue or subject to be addressed. If it relates to a process with national or regional significance, such as motorized travel route designation, go to the Forest Service website to obtain contact information for the appropriate regional office. Identify who has oversight responsibility for the motorized travel route designation process. Find the schedule for the planning processes in the region. Identify the current status for your particular area of interest. Contact the appropriate Forest Supervisor's Office. Identify who has oversight responsibility for the motorized travel route designation process on the forest. Identify the current status of planning for your particular area of interest. If planning is being done at the forest level, ask to be placed on the mailing list for the project. Ask if there is a web address for information. Contact the Ranger District. Identify who has lead responsibility for the motorized travel route designation process on the district. Identify the current status of planning for your particular area of interest and the schedule for public involvement. Ask to be placed on the mailing list for the project. But what if your area of interest pertains to a local issue like trail maintenance, trailhead facilities, or the development of a local volunteer support organization? Well, since the Forest Service has a decentralized decision-making process where most decisions are left to the lower levels of the organization, the Ranger District is the appropriate place to direct your inquiries and discuss issues of local importance to you. OHV-related subjects are normally handled by a recreation officer or a recreation staff person. However, others in the Ranger District office, such as a resource specialist, a volunteer coordinator, or a law enforcement officer, may be involved. Ask your district ranger to identify the appropriate individuals. Once you understand the Forest Service organization, you can determine what office, Ranger District, Forest Supervisor's Office, or Regional Office to contact. Then utilize resources such as the Forest Service website to identify the person you need to be speaking to. Armed with this information, you can be an effective OHV recreation advocate.